Tower Defense Simulator has updated today, and they've added, finally, the Triumpher of All Knights badge, which was a badge that was previously introduced in the Hexscape event right after Night 3 was released for that event, and they've reintroduced it for this event so that if you were to beat all of the events in order, you would then get this badge. With that being said, I don't actually see it. Okay, so sorry, it's at the top. So complete all 3 nights for Halloween 2025 in a row on hard difficulty using a single loadout and without restarting a single match. 2 people have won this. I assume they are developers. So effectively, you have to start on Night 1 hard mode, then go to Night 2 hard mode with the same team and the same loadout, and then go to Night 3 hard mode and beat that. This cannot be done in easy mode, and I assume that after you beat Night 1 hard mode, there is a continue button which teleports you into Night 2. And if you were to do this, conquer all 3 nights on hard mode in a single run, bear in mind you cannot quit, you cannot restart, and you have to do it on one loadout, you get the exclusive tag, the Null and Void tag, which actually looks very similar to the Hexscape badge that you get for the Triumph of All Knights thing. So let's see, if I were to go down to, I think it's called the Hexscape badge. So yes, so this is the Triumph of All Knights badge from Hexscape event, and then comparing this to that, the one we have for Null and Void, it looks pretty similar, I can't lie. Now, this is unrelated to the Warlock Tower, which you get by beating hard mode. You don't have to do that in order, and you don't have to do that in a single run. Some people were confused, saying that they didn't have the Warlock Tower. That's probably because they beat easy mode for Night 1 or Night 2 and then beat it on hard mode for Night 3. That is not what you're meant to do. You must beat all of the nights in hard mode. It doesn't have to be in order. You could have beaten Night 1 in easy mode, then beat Night 2 and Night 3 in hard mode, but you still need to beat Night 1 in hard mode, and after you beat Night 1, you would get the Warlock Tower. Additionally, I would like to point out that the Triumph of All Knights badge, that has 14 days to actually get, because, well, assuming that the event ends at the same time as the Null and Void event ends, or Battle Pass, sorry, it means that you have 2 weeks to do this, which, in my opinion, doesn't seem like a lot. I'd say 2 months, sorry, well, not even 2 months. 2 months seem a little bit a lot, so maybe a month is fine, but having 2 weeks to do it, that's not a long period of time. Like, some people, they could be busy with work for 1 week, so that means effectively they have 1 week to do it. So maybe the developers will extend the event slightly, but then it's going into December. Would it be going into December? You'll be going to like the start of December, which the developers may want to keep out for the Christmas event that is coming. The developers have confirmed that there's going to be a Christmas event this year, as there always has been for basically every other year apart from 2021, because, well, not 2021, 2020, because that was weird. 2021 was a weird thing for, like, Tower Defense Simulator. By the way, the 14 days is actually an extension. The developers have mentioned that the event will be extended to the 26th of November, which is 2 weeks from now, so we are updating the timer right now, and so they are also updating, so I guess they've extended the Battle Pass as well. I'm not sure when the original Battle Pass end was. It might have been the Monday on that game, so I'm not sure. And so it looks like the developers have extended it graciously for the Null and Void Battle Pass. And for the Triumph of All Knights. So you do have a limited period of time to get the Triumph of All Knights badge for the Null and Void event. There was also an issue where there was a bug where the flag for the continue button was set to false for version v1.80.0. So if you're not on version v1.80.1, then it won't show the continue button and you can't get the badge. Right, so yeah, so I mean, by the time this video comes out, this would be fixed, but this does suggest that to get the Triumph of All Knights badge and the Null and Void tag, you have to click continue after you beat Night 1 in hard mode before going into Night 2, before going into Night 3, and beating that in order. And other than that, there are a couple of changes to this update. So firstly, the developers have added Xbox controller support when selecting game modes in matchmaking. Apparently, you are unable to do this in previous versions of Tower Defense Simulator. I think they've now fixed it. So I can't really confirm. I don't really have an Xbox controller on hand right now. I don't really use Xbox either, but I'm just going to have to take the developer's word that it has now been fixed. The developers have also apparently added an enhanced Lyra system, which apparently has data store session locking for better stability, which, to be fair, before this update, I was noticing that I was being kicked from the game a lot more because my data store, or there was some data store issues, which meant my account was incorrect or something like that. Basically, apparently, the developers have enhanced the data store, so you should be kicked less from the game because your data isn't being saved, basically. That's why you're being kicked, is because like the game thinks that, or there is an issue with your data store, so that the version that the game sees and what's being stored is different, so there could have been data loss, so it just kicks you to prevent any data from actually being lost, just in case. Also, apparently there was an issue when the hacker was being shown for purchase, it showed coins instead of gems. This has now been fixed, although I've never actually experienced that myself, and nor have I really seen anyone report this, but if it has been reported previously, it's now been fixed. Apparently, the developers have also improved the tower's buff system so that it improves performance, at least what they're saying here. So here, they're saying, optimize tower buff effect systems for improved performance. And next, there is something that isn't in the update log. There is a new map in Tower Defense Simulator. It's called Midnight Issue, as you can see here. I wonder if it appears in the update, or well, the index. So scrolling down, so that's S, and then this is Legacy Winter Abyss. So, spoiler alert as well, there is a new Winter Abyss as well. But the Legacy Winter Abyss, it cannot be played in sandbox mode. Just like I think Dusty Bridges, for example, that was replaced. And you can't do Legacy Dusty Bridges except through elevators, which is the same as the Legacy Winter Abyss. And this map, Midnight Issue, you can't do this map in matchmaking. You can only do it through elevators. And as you can see here, it looks a little bit like Toyboard, except it's at night. So I'm just going to have to assume that this is like, what are we looking at? A midnight thing, a midnight theme, okay, fair enough. So is this a haunted Halloween house with checkers and a shortish path, not like Toyboard? And also, is there even any cliff spots? I think I assume that all of these Lego pieces are cliff spots, as well as this one here. But it is a pretty short map. It is like a Toyboard ripoff, except this one's more dark, I guess, and it's more abstract in terms of its exit and its entrance. It's not a box and a castle, it's a scary face matchbox and a cookie. But again, as previously mentioned, this is a new map in Tower Defense Simulator, but you cannot play this through matchmaking. If you try through matchmaking elevators, it won't appear through that. Well, not elevators, matchmaking the system. It won't appear. You can only do this through the elevators in the normal lobby, which I find to be really weird. Now, as seen previously, there is now a new map. Technically, it's Legacy Winter Abyss, but that's because the original Winter Abyss was changed. So that version of Winter Abyss has changed into Legacy Winter Abyss, but you can't vote for it, as mentioned. So Legacy Winter Abyss doesn't appear. So if I were to see Midnight as well, it wouldn't also appear. But there is a new Winter Abyss map which you can play because it just uses the code from that previously. And it looks, as you can see here, orange, slightly orange. Also, it looks like there is a hill there, which is interesting. So this is the new Winter Abyss, and it looks very similar to the original Winter Abyss, except, well, it's not really over lakes anymore, and it's higher up, and you are climbing, and you're going through portals. So I'd have to assume that there was a original version of Winter Abyss which never made it to the game. I'm not sure. I think there was a version of Winter Abyss that was meant to replace the original one, but that just never reached the game. And the original Winter Abyss, as mentioned previously, is still in the game, just as Legacy Winter Abyss. So this is your new Winter Abyss map. Anything that used, I think the challenge trials, there was one for, I actually forgot, maybe Fog. This is the new map, and I think this map is slightly easier. It looks like there's more space for ground spots, but for cliff spots, there might be less. So yeah, just do bear that in mind. Also, I think this one is slightly shorter, or is it the same length? I'd have to assume same length, really. Again, not sure why the developers have not included it, in the update log. But next, we have the living statue emote, and, well, here, it is stone, or, well, whatever Roblox texture this is. I'm not sure what the issue with this was previously, I can't lie. Okay, so previously the face didn't actually turn into stone, whereas now it does turn into stone. Also, I never knew this, but you could walk around with the living statue mode. That's cool, I guess. They also fixed the issue with the texture not being applied to 3D clothing, which I didn't know that they've enabled it in Tower Defense Simulator, but fair enough. 3D clothing now works with the living statue emote. When it comes to the sandcastle emote, apparently the developers have fixed damage for it and detections for it, which I'm not sure if there was an issue with. I think there might have been an issue with it previously when trying to hit it, but whatever. And they've also apparently fixed the timescale issue with the sandcastle consumable, because previously I think timescale didn't affect it. So in a short period of time, if you were to do on like 0.5 speed, the crabs would spawn very close to each other, and effectively you'd get a lot more, well, not really a lot more damage out of it, but you'd concentrate the damage a lot more compared to if you didn't have timescale. Oh, and sorry, it's not the Sandcastle barricade. Apparently it's the barricade compatibility with timescale changes. I'm not sure what the issue was there, not the Sandcastle barricade, but fair enough. They've now fixed it so the barricade can now work with timescale. Okay. Next, apparently the developers have cleaned up the DJ booth effects, but there's now a invisible box that surrounds the Mako DJ booth, as you can see with the outline. Okay, so if you upgrade it, okay, I don't think that anything's changed here. Nothing changed here. Okay, is there any changes? There's no, what is it? I think if a tower is surrounded by the Mako DJ booth, does it have like the effects? No, it doesn't anymore. I do remember previously that there were like song sounding effects that surrounded the Mako DJ booth. So I guess the developers have decided that's a little bit too tacky and decided to remove it. And finally, interestingly enough, the developers have claimed to have fixed the medic shirt issues. The only thing is, they haven't, at least from what I've seen. So, yeah, as you can see here, the medic is still shirtless, but apparently what has been fixed is the belt that surrounds the medic. So apparently, previously, with the medic, the belt was removed from this, but it's now been fixed so that the belt isn't removed, but the Witch Medic, it's still shirtless. And also this is a thing that's applied to all medic skins. It's not just the Witch Medic that had its belt removed, apparently, by accident. So the developers have now fixed it. But the shirtless medic is still in Tower Defense Simulator, so no need to fret about that. Ooh, is that still a random effect from the DJ Mako booth? There's still particle effects coming out of it, but I guess there's less of it than it was previously. Fair enough.